What's up, guys? This is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about creating an epic life on your terms. And it's 2020. This is my first video of the decade, and I really want to set a tone because there has been so much going on in my life. The last decade was amazing, and none of this would have happened if I didn't use abundance as a strategy. Because I'm a person who doesn't always believe in the esoteric side of things. But once I understood that it's all about understanding the rational strategy behind it, I didn't need to believe in things that I wasn't sure I could always believe in. If you start thinking about abundance as a strategy that's always going to improve your life, that's going to make your life more meaningful, you'll create amazing things. And today I really want to talk to you about what abundance is, how you can actually become an abundant person, how to change so many little things that you do on a daily basis that will actually change your life for the better. And you don't have to change who you are in order to live like this. Your life will be amazing, and this decade is our best one yet. So let's start 2020 with the best strategy that's gonna get your life to the next level as soon as possible. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you want to know more about the concept of creating an epic life on your terms, then check out my webinar. The link is in the description, and if you want to work with me privately, you also find the information below. So let me start by telling you how abundance changed my life. So I was really at a point like 5 or 6 years ago when nothing seemed to work out in my favor. I really didn't like the life I was living, but it all looked amazing on paper. So I had this amazing corporate job, I was making good money, my family was healthy, but I still felt something is deeply missing within my life. And I really went on to live every day that way. And I kept on getting myself in situations that just caused me more pain. And I really got to a point where I felt, why am I actually doing this? Why does my life matter? I really lost all meaning for life, and at that moment I really thought, nobody will care. I'm just like this tiny little bit of all eternity, and if I exist or I don't, it doesn't really matter. And if you get to a point like this, you really have to change something about your mindset. I definitely had to, because for me it was clearly, I'm not going to do anything stupid here. Like, I will continue and I'll make the best out of it. And since I'm going to do that, why think about that my life doesn't matter? Why am I actually continuing to play that narrative in my mind when it's gonna make me unhappy? Let me lie to myself. So I know that my life doesn't really matter, but let me teach my mind. Let me just convince it and play this game that my life matters. Let me give my life meaning, because then I can actually enjoy all of it. And once I started living this lie, it became reality. And nowadays, this feels like the only reality I live in. And so I really wanted to tell you that story because it didn't come from a point of, oh, I have everything figured out, everything's so great, I'm so excited about my life. It was actually the other way around. I understood that if I wanted to actually enjoy my life to any kind of extent, to have some kind of meaning in my life, I really have to change the way I think about my life. So this is the first time I understood how flexible our own understanding of ourselves is. Because from that moment, I really said, well, let me really change something. I have to actually put some meaning in my life, because then I can start doing things for other people. I started giving my life the significance that it deserves, because I'm a part of all of it. I'm part of life. I'm a part of creation, and I want to contribute to making this creation better, because that's the thing that's going to continue. That's the thing that's there. It's going to keep on growing. It's all about energy, and energy is always evolving. Energy never gets lost. So once I decided for me, this is the mindset I want to live with, and this is the mindset that's going to make my life a little tiny bit better, because at that moment, I really didn't think that I could live the life I live now. See, now I'm visiting my family. That's why I'm not in my normal surrounding, but normally I live in Madrid now. I have a great relationship I'm really happy with. I work what I love. I work what I want to be talking and doing and thinking about all day long. For me, there is no work-life balance in a way of I have to do something I don't like for 7 hours a day or 8 hours or 10 hours, and then I get to do what I want to do in the rest of the time. It all blends. This is how my life is structured now. And none of this would have happened if I didn't make it a point to actually start this abundance mindset. So what can you do? How can you change your approach to life in a way that actually gets you excited about about life where you feel like you're improving every day and becoming somebody who, first off, loves his or her life, who actually contributes to creating a better world, because that is so fulfilling. You'll never want to stop once you start. You actually start bringing service to everything around you. You work for a bigger cause. You're contributing to making the world better on your terms, and it can be in any kind of capacity you want to. So if you're an accountant and you get to help people to improve their business and make it more profitable so they're happy, they're content, they can actually create good things in the world, then this is great. If you're a baker and you love to bake and you love to make people happy with this, then this is your calling. There is not one thing that is more important than the other. But in your life, there's only one thing, and that is your soul. That is the thing that's gonna keep you moving forward. That is the most important thing. You're the center of your life. You're the leading character of your movie, and we are gonna make you see that, because all the strategies, all the things I talk about, they all work, but most people are not doing them. And why are they not doing them? They're not doing them because of their own self-belief or their lack of. So Marissa Peer says it so greatly. She always says, most people have the problem of feeling they're not enough. When a baby is born, they never worry about, oh, I shouldn't be crying because my mom is so upset already, or I shouldn't actually puke and ruin that person's shirt. That's not in their sphere. And we all have that. We all have the capacity of actually caring most about what we want once we understand how to feel enough. It does not mean that you're not gonna make compromises, but you're gonna make those compromises consciously, because you know that this is gonna lead to even more abundance. So what is actually abundance? Abundance is having more than we need. And that does not mean that you're gonna waste what you have. It's about knowing that it's okay to have more than enough, because once you're in this position, once you know that there's nothing to worry about, you get to show up on such bigger scales, you get to help others in such more significant way, you will never believe it. Because I remember how intensely I was focused on particular people in my life and trying to make them feel good about their life. But I was doing that from a point of lack. I was doing that from a point of, I actually have to extend myself and give of myself to a point where there's nothing left of me. I depleted myself in order to do something for another person. And this is actually not a place of abundance. We're not doing that because we're not expecting anything back. We have to understand that we're always doing that because we feel we're not good enough. We don't deserve to get all the love and appreciation while being ourselves. And in the end, you'll only be able to help people to this extent over here, because you always need a little bit just to survive. And if you really put the emphasis on making something happen for other people while you're not giving to yourself first, you're just not gonna have any energy left. And this is what we're gonna talk about today: how you can become a person, feel okay with giving to yourself first, and really becoming a vessel of energy, so you can just see the world more and more through your own filters, because you'll never be able to see the world any differently than through your eyes. And that is a good thing. You are the way you are on purpose. There is nothing wrong with the way you see life. Actually, you're the biggest gift there is to life. So why neglect how we see the world just because we don't see it mirrored back to us yet? This is what we're gonna talk about, because my life really changed in a way I don't think I can ever explain in words. Because on the outside, yes, you see those differences here and there. I'm not working anymore. I have my own business. You know, all of these things look great. But theoretically, I could have given those things to me years ago. But I didn't do it because I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like this is gonna make me happy. I didn't know how to actually change my mindset to an abundance mindset and really love every minute of it. But now I know we can all do it. I went through a lot of learning periods in order to get where I'm at here. And now I can actually tell you the shortcuts. I can tell you those things which will never keep you from actually looking at yourself. See, I'm not gonna tell you something that's gonna make you avoid looking at your problems, but it's actually just gonna show you where to look at. So you can change a couple of things, and and in a way that makes you grow and become more and more the person you've always been on the deepest core. So how do we become an abundant person? We know what abundance is. We understand the theory behind it. I think we already also understood that it's not so important that you actually believe in the esoteric kind of thinking in that way in order to live abundantly. It's enough to understand that abundance is a strategy. And once you actually start living by it, you'll improve your life and you'll give your life meaning, because this is the quickest way for you to feel better, contribute to life altogether, and really have meaning in your life. But that doesn't really answer the question of how to become an abundant person. So this is how you do it. You actually become aware that you're already abundant right now in this moment. So this is actually when we start talking about gratitude. And don't stop the video now. I know this is something you hear over and over again and you feel like, well, gratitude, like what's that gonna do for me? I really don't like my life, and if I start having gratitude for my current life, does that actually mean I have to be okay with how it is now and be okay with it not getting better? Because this is exactly how it feels like. I know this is how I felt, and I hear this over and over again, this feeling of I cannot be happy about my current situation, because the way it is presented, it really makes it sound like this is the life I'm gonna live for the rest of my life, and I just have to be happy with that. And that's just not the case. Not the case at all. But if you're not able to look at your life from a positive perspective, you cannot improve it. I can guarantee you this. Yes, you can come from a perspective of fear. Yes, you can come from a perspective of pain. I don't want to be where I am right now, and therefore I'm going to change something. But this is a rational thing. If you really want to change your entire approach to life, it's really abundance that's going to get you the farthest, because pain will only push you that far. Abundance is really the thing that has no limit to it. Pain, at some point, once you overcome this like horrible thing you're going through, that pain will be gone. And what then? Then you're gonna be okay with the current situation. And then you're gonna keep on sabotaging yourself until you feel a bad pain again that's gonna push you forward. It works, but it takes a lot of time. Why wait for pain to be really the thing that makes you move? It can be that you really turn into the frequency of abundance and start creating amazing things right this second. So how do we do this? So let's say you're in a position where you don't like your job. You're not being really appreciated for who you are. You don't really self-actualize. So you do something that people ask of you, but there's nothing where your essence is coming through. You feel your life is boring. You don't have any friends that really support you in who you want to be. The list can continue on. There's always some situation that could be worse, but we all want to look at it from the best possible situation. And why do we want to do it? Remember, we only want to do this because it's a strategy. You don't really have to believe it. You don't have to believe in the science behind it. Just know that it really changes the way you approach life, because our mind emphasizes what we focus on. This is a fact. There is nothing to debate here. So once you understand that, you understand that you can only create better things in your life if you start focusing on the things that are already going greatly in your life. A metaphor I've used for years for this is actually to turn around a glove. We have a glove, and in order to actually really live our life in a way of abundance, when we haven't done that so far, we really have to turn it inside out. That's actually the way we have to look at it, because right now, if you focus on all of those things, you're gonna keep on creating more of those, not because it's some kind of magical thing that's happening or some bad luck that's in your realm. It's because if you focus on people don't like me, my boss doesn't appreciate me, I don't like my friends, I don't like the way my life is, your mind is automatically gonna look out for things that give you even more of that. That's just how our mind works. Our mind in that case is not our friend or our enemy. It's not something that really wants the worst for us. It's just how it works. So let's use the system the best way possible. So the same person that I talked to you about, that has all of those things in her or his life, you know what she has as well? That person in our example is really healthy. She never had any complaints. Her family is healthy. She lives in an apartment which is actually really nicely decorated. She also never really had any financial problems ever. She works a job that doesn't really make her that happy, but this is not what we're gonna focus on. What we're gonna focus on is that she always has enough money to support herself. She always Lois is also able to go on vacation she loves. Or it can be that she always gets to listen to the music she so needs in her life. It's right there. Having internet is something she can easily afford, and therefore she gets to listen to the music she loves. And the moment you start actually focusing on those things, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna create more of that. Because you get so accustomed to those feelings that you want more of this. You create this. This is how our mind works. And these things happen on autopilot. But you know why most people don't want to do this? Because we're addicted to worry. We're addicted to anxiety. We're addicted to feeling that our life is not great. We're really addicted to this. So what's going to happen if you force yourself not to think about those things? Because your job sucks in this situation. It really is something you don't like, but it's not gonna get worse if you don't think about it. It's not that you're gonna be a loser or that you're giving up on yourself if you don't keep reminding yourself how much you actually dislike your job. It's not gonna get better. So why not try to focus on what you like about your job, which is, for example, your salary. See, that does not mean that you have to stay at this job forever. But if you really start focusing on the positive things, you will want more positive things. Then you start seeing opportunities and possibilities coming up, which actually might give you even more income with something that gives you even more joy. And these things go for all things in our life. Our relationships, our wealth, our vocation, so our self-actualization. It goes for our physical energy management. So how healthy do you feel in your body? How much energy do you have? Are you really at a point where you want to be? If you only focus on what you don't want, what you don't have, you're never really gonna make that switch. It's always going to be hard. But if you start focusing on what you get to do, how exciting it is to you, your mind literally changes without you having to think about it. Nowadays, I love to meditate. I look forward to meditating. I write in my gratitude journal all the time because I know it's a strategy that actually works. It improves my life like nothing before has ever done it. I don't know if you know of Gary Vaynerchuk, for example. He always talks about optimism is a strategy. And for example, he has been doing this his entire life. And now he talks, for example, about flipping. So flipping in a way of he buys something at a flea market and then he resells it on eBay and makes money with that. And he shows how you can do that easily. And he does that just to demonstrate that it's not about the technical skills you need. And still, most people don't feel like doing that. See, I'm not flipping because that's just not something I'm interested in. But the fact is, if I really needed money and I needed it right now, this is always something I could do. And a lot of people could do things like this. There are so many ways of actually creating money. There's so many great ways of creating friends, as in joining groups where people are doing something for others and you actually come together with like-minded people. But we don't do it because our mind is not structured for it. So unless you understand that there is no tactic you need that you haven't learned so far, that it's not about some bad luck why you're in the situation that you are in. Because if another person was in your shoes with the entire same situations, but they had a different mindset, they would get out of it just like that. So if you become a person who says, I'm all about abundance, my biggest goal is to become a person who is abundant, all of those things will take care of themselves easily. So if you feel like I cannot dare to do this, I can't allow myself to stop worrying and just focus on that, then ask yourself, how far has your current mindset gotten you? And if it's not where you want to be, then try something else. What is there to lose? So you might say, well, I understand theory behind it. I completely get it. I believe in it, but my life doesn't really change. Why doesn't it change? Why is it so hard for me to actually write down my goals daily? Why is it so hard for me to write my gratitude journal? Why am I not doing these things that I know would be great? And you know what's keeping you from this? It's your limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are really the thing that are keeping us from accelerating our life on a faster pace. That's all it is. That's keeping us from actually going to the next step. A lot of people use the metaphor of abundance as a river. There is so much of it and it's going towards you. You're part of creation, you're part of it all. So why wouldn't you be able and deserving of getting all the abundance you want? You have all of that. It's coming towards you. But the limiting beliefs are actually blocking that. So just a little bit comes through. And we have to understand that those limiting beliefs are the thing that make the difference between a person who's really unhappy, who doesn't make any progress in their life, and a person who does really amazing things in their life from their perspective, who loves her life and really gets to live out her epic life. So how do we get from a point of, I'm here and I want to get to somebody who's open to all of the abundance to flow to me? The first thing we have to do is understand that this is happening, that we're not aware of those limiting beliefs, and everybody has it. There is no such thing as now I've decluttered everything. There's always more to declutter, and we have to be always open for new opportunities to remove those limiting beliefs from our minds. You can actually look at videos of mine on how to forgive, on declutter your limiting beliefs. I really have a lot on that. And there's so many things out there you can actually even find on YouTube. They're great courses. My course that's coming out in April, the Epic Life Masterclass 2.0, I don't know what name I'm gonna give it to it yet, but there we're gonna really talk about this even more. I'm gonna have exercises and you'll have everything at one place, but you'll also find things all the time that you can use for this. Forgiveness is a great one. That's one of my last videos on this, so really check this out. But this is what's keeping you from this being just a theory and making it your reality. Because we have everything we need in order to live abundantly. And now the last thing, and this one is really interesting actually, and that is that you need to point your abundance somewhere. I really like an example which Denise Duffel Thomas uses, which is imagine a dog, and that dog can fetch everything you tell her she could fetch. Let's say there are 100 different toys, and if you would tell that dog, go fetch me the Frisbee, it would get it. If you say, go fetch me that thing that looks like a mushroom, she would fetch it. But if you don't tell anything to that dog wouldn't know what to get you. And this is how we go through life so often. If we don't have a plan, if we don't have goals, if we don't set out what we're gonna do, we're not gonna go and do them because our mind doesn't know what to focus on. And if it doesn't know that, it goes back to default. It goes back into your current reality realm. So we really need to change that. That's why it's so important to really write your goals down every day. That's why it's so important to actually understand what your life script is all about, where you want to go, how is it gonna look like in 2020. Whatever it is, if you don't set out goals where you want to go, you're not gonna move forward. And a lot of people ask themselves, and I used to be like this, what for? This is not gonna make me happy, because I knew a lot of things I wanted to do and I actually was able to achieve them, and none of it made me really happy. And that comes because I didn't do it out of abundance, because I didn't look into doing something that helps me self-actualize, because I didn't put myself first. And I really didn't work on decluttering my limiting beliefs. But now that I do that, I see the difference. But it all plays together. So if you really want to start off the decade and this year the best way possible and become an abundant person and stay like this for the rest of your life, because it's a strategy that makes you feel fully alive and creates amazing things, not only for you, but for the people you love and the things you believe in. You get to decide what you're going to do with your abundance, where you're going to direct it to, but you have to start planning it out. You have to set goals for yourself, and don't be afraid that you're gonna make a mistake by going towards something that you're gonna change in a while. That's okay. You can change at any time, but in order to change something, you have to first set something up. So really go for the next best thing that you can think of. And once you're there, you'll have a much better view of what the next step is you want to take in your life. So if you really want to know how to actually put this into practice and live an abundant life on your terms, an epic life on your terms, then check out the webinar, because there I already go a lot more into detail. And if you want to work with me privately so we can actually narrow down and pinpoint the things in your life specifically that we get to transform, then check out my link on one-on-one coaching. And now, if you really want to set out your goals right now, because the quicker you do that, the quicker you write them down and you know exactly what you want in 2020, then watch my video on how to set goals in 2020 and actually achieve them. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I talk to you next time. Bye.